were your guys' inspiration to get behind a microphone?
Dan Patrick.
Was it? Actually, I just fell into this. We were on another podcast, and Tiddy had joined that one and was on it for about a year, I think.
Yeah.
And they approached me and were like, "Hey, man, can you want to join us and see what happens?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." I mean, I had no.
He's like, I don't have anything, so I was like, "Oh, I'll buy you a microphone." So I bought him a microphone and hooked him up, got him on, and everything was just all hunky dory.
Well, how did you fall into it 10 years ago?
So, all right, a little backstory about this guy you got on this side of the screen and the microphone. It's really interesting. So, thankfully, tonight I've had a PBR, so like I'm feeling kind of loose right now. Believe it or not, and a lot of people don't believe this, so I really don't talk about it much, but you guys are cool. I was actually born with mild cerebral palsy, okay? I'm fully functional, but the part that affects me the most is my speech, so I stutter. And whenever I was 15, I first heard the Jim Rome show. That's why I had to do a shout out to Jim Rome. And I was like, man, this guy's freaking amazing. You know, he's bashing all these guests. I mean, he's bashing all these athletes, and the next week he has them on and they're best buds, you know? It's like they didn't hear the show. So I was like, and then, but what really got me hooked were these nobodies who he called the clones. They would call into the show, and one day a year, there was a smack off tournament. All the guys who talked the most smack were invited to this big tournament, and it was voted on by the listeners. And they would all just talk trash on each other, and whoever did the best, ad lib and whatever you want to call it, they were the winner of the smack off. And my favorite guy was a guy named Jeff from Richmond. I tried looking this guy up 1,000 times, being a creep, because I thought he was so good. And it was really that. And then I was like, well, I think live radio would be awesome. And then I was like, oh, wait, never mind. Live radio would suck because I stutter. People pay for time and all this other crap. I wouldn't be able to do it. And so then I just stumbled upon internet radio at the time, which I did on blogtalkradio.com, where I had live callers and all this other stuff. And but I was like able to edit shows. And I was like, well, wait a second. Every time I stutter, I can just, I mean, it'll take me forever, obviously, to edit my shows. But, I'll just edit this stuff out, and, I can have my version of a radio show, and it's been that way ever since. But it was Jim Rome 110%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for me, Dan Patrick's got a lot to do with it, because Dan Patrick's got one of those cool ass voices. But Mike,
he is the voice.
Mike Rowe is also one of my faves. I love his podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts, and that's something I was going to talk to you guys about. I didn't write it down, but I just remembered it. But his podcast is probably my favorite podcast, and it's called The Way I Heard It, and it's you may not remember back in the day, but there was a guy on the radio. It was syndicated, and his name is Paul Harvey.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then
absolutely.
And they had the rest of the story, right? And it told you the story, and it kept you hanging and hanging and hanging until you figured out who it was. Mike Rowe actually went to the Harvey family and said he wanted to do a podcast, and a lot of it's very similar to Paul Harvey's style, just with a twist. I'm not going to call it the way I heard it, or not going to call it the rest of the story. It's the way I heard it, and at the very end of each one, he says, "Well, anyway, that's the way I heard it." But his podcasts are only like 9 to 12 minutes long. They're just short stories, but the stories will hang you like you can't. You're going through this, and you're like trying to figure this out, and so for like 12 minutes, you play detective, trying to figure out who's talking about, and then he blows you away. Sorry, I had to cough.
That was good timing on Donnie's part.
Yeah.
Donnie cut that mic at the right time.
Shaboom. My mic has a button.
It's about time he did something right tonight.
Yeah, right.
This ain't even my show, but I'm going to bash him because he cut me off, okay?
He's used to it.
Pull up your pants, Tony. Looks stupid. Walking around with Calvin Klein underwear sticking out of his belt line. I mean,
Frosted tips.
You think you're Jay-Z? Yeah, you think Jay-Z be running a podcast?
Backstreet Boy.
No. Jay-Z don't run podcasts. Pull your pants up. Anyways, that's one of my favorite podcasts. I'm a big NASCAR fan. Get that out there. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. has probably the best racing podcast out there. And he's getting a whole lot better on the microphone than what he used to be. You know, he used to be this crazy kid who's got the accent like this, and now he actually asks really good questions and has some good guests on there. So I dig that. Now listen to the Todcast.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good podcast. Pretty good podcast. What else I listen to? I've got them pulled up. Bump. I wish you could do this for me, Donnie. By the way,
a list of them around.
By the way, Todd, I'm just on fun looking at them. That picture, your cover picture for your podcast,
yeah,
that's pretty dope, dude. Just got to throw that out.
The one in the black,
yeah.
The one in the suit and tie,
yeah,
and the whiskey.
That's a pretty dope picture, dude. Not gonna lie. Chad Prather.
I can't take credit for it. The hashtag smoking hot soon to be wife is a big time photographer, so I get like a little bit of help with that. Yep. So hat goes off to her. I'll make sure to get.
She nailed that picture. That's a dope.
Yeah. And let's see, the only other podcast I listen to is Chad Prather, the Chad Prather Show, and another racing podcast called Door Bumper Clear. So I don't know what's your podcast, Shiner. I know you listen to Rogan. I listen to him sometimes, but not a lot.
I don't listen to him like I used to, man. But yeah, I still hit Rogan sometimes, and of course Todd and Johnny. I get theirs every week when they put theirs. And actually, I've been so busy between this show and some of the video stuff that I had going on. I haven't been able to even sit down and finding time to listen in like a month, dude. I mean, between this and hunting, I'm pretty much my time's pretty taken up.
Yeah. What about you, Todd?
My my biggest, like, I'm a wrestling nerd, guys, just so you know. I'm a wrestling nerd. My every Monday, no, I'm sorry. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's like I don't even know anything. I don't even know what I'm saying. Donnie, edit me, buddy. Donnie, edit me. So on Wednesday, it's Chris Jericho has a podcast that drops. All right.
Wow.
He has one on Wednesdays and Fridays. I listen to you guys. I listen to Steve Austin show.
Lead singer Fozzy.
Yes.
I love that band.
So do I.
Yeah. Dig it.
But so it's Jericho, Steve Austin, Jim Cornette. 110% is one I cannot miss. He has one on Mondays and he has one out on Fridays right now. I listen to you guys. I listen to my own show. I'm not gonna lie. Do you guys listen to your own show?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You learn a lot by listening to yourself.
You do. But and at first I didn't think I would, because like you always hear like actors say, I can't watch my own movies, you know, because I'll just like criticize and critique everything, which I do too on my show. Like the biggest critique about myself, I think, is my voice. Like I wish I had like that Dan Patrick voice or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
I'd kill for it.
You know, and but no, man, I listen to my show. I think it's healthy, and my show honestly makes me laugh, so that's one I never miss as well. As corny as that may sound.
No, we go back and laugh at our podcast as well, and we'll call each other afterwards and like, man, you remember talking about this on the podcast? It's, yeah, god dang, man, I didn't mean to not come across funny, because that was funny as hell, and it sounded like I was serious. And when you interjected what you said, I lost my shit driving down the road. I was laughing my ass off, and I never caught that when we were doing the show. You know, stuff like that. We don't criticize very much.
I've never been a guest on a show that had a Donnie, all right, or anybody, because everybody else is so much like a DIY, kind of like my show is. Like, you know, yeah, Johnny is the co-host, but like the grunt work of putting this thing out there is me, straight up. I don't have I don't have any sort of Donnie or any sort of whatever going on. So what's it like to be big time and have a Donnie?
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
clearly, because he doesn't do his job right. But like the sound of having a Donnie would be good.
He actually, he does
look good on paper.
He does
that's because he fudged his resume.
He does. Do you really fix airplanes, Donnie?
Yeah, we've never verified anything about Donnie either.
I just took him at his word.
Did anybody call his references?
No. But
well, we may need to look into doing that.
but
I'll do it for you because he jacked me up a few times tonight, and I'm willing to help a couple buddies out.
well, to be fair, we don't pay him, so there's that.
Well, why would you pay somebody that doesn't do the job right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We keep telling him that. That's exactly what we tell him.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the fact that he's my cousin's ex-girlfriend's best friend's, because she's a lesbian, ex-girlfriend's brother, and so he kind of had to hook up a little bit.
I knew there was a tie there. I didn't know it went that many degrees of separation and fucked up directions.
Did you figure that out on Ancestry.com?
No, I didn't. Because I'm afraid if I go to Ancestry.com and start looking at my shit, it's just the branches are all on one side, and if I find that out, ooh. When your tree branches start just staying on one side of the tree, that's bad.
And it starts to lean a little bit.
Yeah, because
that's not too good.
when the tree starts coming from a brother and sister, and then it moves down from there, then it's all on that same side of the tree.
Then you end up with Donnie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we end up with a Donnie.
He's the last twig.
Honestly, one of the biggest reasons I keep him around is he's trying to grow his mullet back, and I'm okay with that. Everybody loves his mullet. Everybody was like, save the mullet. Don't let the mullet go. He did it anyways. And I realized, Donnie, that your wife wanted that. And I realized that as soon as you cut it off, she mauled you in bed. But there are other more important things than your wiener. Okay?
Jeez, God, this took a left turn. Jesus.
So keep it in your pants.
People don't pick on you if you do your job right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, keep it in your pants. Keep it in
Word on
your
the
pants.
street.
Grow the mullet. Get the mullet epic. Like, dude, this time I want 79 orange Trans Am mullet. Not that black Trans Am. Not the white Trans Am, not the blue Trans Am, that orange Trans Am that they put out. I want that mullet.
He's obviously, if he's doing like volunteer work, because it doesn't get paid, and like having a mullet. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel bad for you guys in a way that you got to look in 2019, about to be 2020, but like the things that you could do with him are like the synonyms, right? Like the hockey hair, the WrestleMania, the wrestler's wig, the Louisiana Purchase, the beaver paddle. What are some of this? Like, are there any great mullet synonyms?
Well, I think the beaver paddle is way higher.
Yes. Never heard that one before. That was pretty good.
I hadn't either. That's pretty dope.
What about like the LPGA? You know what I mean? Like what?
I love when we have guests on that start offending entire sections of the community, on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we're not talking. Yeah, we're not talking this person, this person, and this person. We're talking this entire group over here, this entire cross section over here.
It's just having a mullet is cool. I don't care. I don't care. But like, you got to be cool to have the mullet. And the things he hasn't done tonight hasn't been cool. So I think we got to change the name from mullet for a little while. I don't even care if it's the achy breaky big mistakey. We got to give him something. We got to give.
That's a great one.
We got to give him something other than mullet because he hasn't earned. That will be the classic of all time. One of the most classic hairdos of all time. The 80s were rocking, strutting and strolling and everything else, but so was the hairdo, and that's because it was cool, and the things he's done tonight ain't cool. So we'll have to come up with something for him.
I'm gonna call it the
Who
pub.
here had a mullet? Titty, did you sport the mullet?
I did for a little while. I'm gonna call it the pub. There's a party in the back. The pub.
I was born in '86, so no. But it is debatable. There was a picture that was taken of me from my mama in Olin Mills in 1990, where I have this. So I got this. I was a total. I was dressed almost like I was still in the 80s, I guess. I got this green button-up shirt with the sleeves rolled up, trying to show off my 4-year-old guns. And I got these, like, sexy, genuine Italian alpaca shoes on. And I'm telling you, man. I was rocking what is a questionable mullet. If you ask the hashtag smoking hot soon